Hi there, it's Tiffany. Welcome or welcome back. Can I ask you something personal right off top? When you think about how you want to feel on a daily basis, not just on vacation, not just on your good days, but on a regular Tuesday before the meetings start and the emails pile up, how do you want to feel? What comes up for you? Maybe peace, calm, grounded, in control, happy, but not that white knuckling, hold everything together kind of way. I mean, more like settled, secure, like you like yourself. Now, here's the harder question. Is that actually how you feel most days? You can be honest. It's just me and you here. For so many women that I work with, accomplished, hardworking, smart, driven, leading a high-level life, the answer is no. Most days, for most of those types of women, they feel more like they're just managing chaos instead of having emotional stability. And they've gotten so good at managing it that they've started to mistake functioning well under pressure for actually being okay. It's great to function well under pressure, but that's not how you should want all the time your emotional baseline to be. They're not the same thing. Today, we're going to talk about your desired emotional baseline, what it is, why it matters more than any productivity hack you'll ever try, and exactly how to start creating it in your real, actual 3D everyday life. Now, as always, before we jump in, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so other smart, ambitious professionals just like you can uplevel their lives. Now, I want to tell you a story about a moment that I had with a client. Let's just call her Danielle. I was sitting with Danielle, and as always, she popped on the screen and we started coaching and talking. Danielle was a director at a fast-growing company. She had a team of 12 people, a packed calendar, and from the outside, she looked completely in control. She came to me because she felt, in her words, not mine, her words, emotionally exhausted in a way that she couldn't explain. Like she just couldn't figure out why she was so tired. She said she wasn't depressed. She wasn't like in crisis. She just felt like she was running on fumes emotionally and mentally. And every single day, it just got harder and harder. Like she was always one expected email away from completely having a meltdown. And she really hated that because she considered herself a strong-minded woman, an emotionally intelligent leader. So I asked her a question, Danielle, how do you want to feel on a regular day? And I'm not talking about a perfect day, Danielle. I just mean like a regular day. And she just went quiet. And we sat there for a minute. Then she said, Tiffany, I don't know. I mean, good, I guess. No one has ever asked me that question. Most of my life, I feel like I've just been in survival mode and really didn't have much time to figure out how I wanted to feel. Plus, Tiffany, I come from a family, they don't do that emotional stuff. I was expected to succeed. I was expected to get the great career and get the success and, just make it work. What I realized in working with Danielle was that her problem was not a new thing. It's actually an epidemic among high-achieving women. We plan everything except our emotional experience and how we want to feel. So what is this thing called desired emotional baseline? It's not a mood or some type of toxic positivity. That's not what I'm talking about. But it's also not pretending that everything is fine when it actually isn't. Your desired emotional baseline is the emotional tone, like the state you intentionally choose as your foundation every single day that you wake up. The feeling state you're actively building your days around. It's the answer to the question, how do I want to feel consistently most days as I move through my work and my life? Just the general baseline. Here's why this matters so much. Your emotional state is not just a byproduct of what happens to you. It is a driver of your decisions, your leadership, your relationships, and your results that you have in life. When you're chronically operating from a state of stress, overwhelm, anxiety, which a lot of us unfortunately are, you tend to make decisions from that place. You communicate from that place. You show up in your relationships from that place, anxious, angry, upset, not having that emotional control that you decided on before the start. And you wonder why things feel even harder when you're doing everything right, or at least you think you're doing everything right. Emotional stability isn't something that happens to you when life calms down. Because let me tell you, I've been on the earth for a long time. Life is not going to calm down. It's a roller coaster. Emotional stability is something you create intentionally, structurally, on purpose. Hey, by the way, if you resonate with this, be sure to register for my weekly workshop series that I have every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's all around gaining clarity in the areas of life that are keeping you stuck. Work, emotions, values, lifestyle, and so much more. This workshop is for women who are successful on paper, got the visibility, the leadership position, you're doing pretty well, but still not satisfied and headed toward burnout. The link is in the description. So how do you actually build emotional stability? Let me give you 3 places to start. This is very important. So if you have a pen and paper, go ahead and take it out and jot it down. The first way to build emotional stability is to 1, name your baseline. You cannot create what you haven't defined. So get very specific. Don't just say, I want to feel better. Ask yourself, what are the 3 to 5 feelings I want to experience on a regular basis? Again, just like a regular Tuesday, not a special occasion, not the wedding, not the bar mitzvah, like a regular day in your life. Is it calm, confident, present, energized, peaceful, clear, aware? Like, name them for you. Write those down, because those are the words that become the filter. They become the standard against which you measure your choices. When you're deciding whether to take on a new project or say yes to something or structure your schedule, you ask, does this support or undermine my emotional baseline that I desire? And that's not selfish. That's strategic. Doesn't mean life is going to be perfect all the time, but it does mean you have a starting point. The second way to build emotional stability is to audit what's pulling you off your baseline. So once you know how you want to feel, it becomes very obvious what is working against that. And I want you to be honest here, because sometimes the things pulling you off your emotional baseline are things that you've been tolerating for a very long time. Relationship dynamics, marriage dynamics, friendship dynamics, work dynamics, even relationships that you have with your children. A work environment as well, a work environment that keeps you in constant reaction mode, a schedule that's so packed that there's no white space, there's no breathing room. That can also work against you. So you have to sit down and say, how is this serving me? And if it's not, what can I do about it? You can't fix what you won't name. The third way to build emotional stability is build structural support for your emotional state. This is the part most people skip. They think emotional well-being is about just your mindset only. Just think differently and think positively and you become more positive and everything will work out. No. Your emotional baseline is also supported by how your life is actually physically structured. Are you getting adequate rest? Do you have a transitional ritual between work and home so that you're not carrying all the day's stress into your evening or into your relationships with your spouse or significant other? Do you have people in your life who regulate you? Not people who amplify the stress, but people who bring you back to yourself. Now, I'm not saying everybody in your life is going to be perfect, but you should have some people that actually make you feel calm when you're around them. Structure is not separate from your emotional life. Structure is part of your emotional life, and it feeds into your work and your personal life. This is actually one of the pillars inside my membership coaching program, the Freedom Code Clarity membership. When you get clear on who you are and the value you bring, you stop chasing validation and start attracting opportunity. When I work with my clients inside this 3-month group container, I help them articulate their value clearly, confidently, and sustainably without burning out or overperforming to prove themselves. This is something I discuss in the workshop. So if you're interested in the 3-month program, then be sure to join the weekly Wednesday workshop where I talk about it in a little bit more detail. The link to the workshop is in the description. Make sure that you join. Remember Danielle, that client I told you about in the beginning? She did this work. She identified her baseline, grounded, clear, and present. And then we started auditing her life against those 3 words. What she found surprised her. It wasn't the big things that were throwing her off. It was the accumulation of the small things she had been ignoring. The meeting that could have been an email. The person she kept bending over backwards and people pleasing. The Sunday night she spent dreading Monday instead of getting the rest that she needed. When she started making the small, deliberate changes to close that gap between how she was living and how she wanted to feel, everything shifted. It's because she stopped waiting for life to give her peace and started building it herself. You don't have to earn emotional stability. You don't have to wait until things slow down. You get to decide that this is it. This grounded, clear, peaceful version of you is who you are right now and in every situation. And then you build your life to match it. That's the work. When I work with my one-on-one clients or my group clients in my membership program, that is what we do. And trust me, it is so worth doing because it completely changes their life. If this resonated with you, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're interested in learning more about the workshop and the membership, then definitely join my Wednesday workshops that I have every single week. All right, I'll see you at the next one. Bye.